Evening, everyone. Welcome, home visitors and all. And this is 2016, don't forget. So I will call the meeting to order and ask if there are any conflicts of interest amongst the council members. No, thank you very much. Looking for the adoption of the published agenda for Monday, January 18th, 2016. Councillor Sniving, Councillor Caxero. Questions? Councillor Bondi.
Just with an addition of a new business item, please. That when the time permits later, that we talk about the status of the report of the deputy mayor position.
Business item. Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, just wanted to have a brief discussion on whether or not we might be able to pick a date to meet and discuss the road mapping and 5-year plan prior to budget in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, sir. And our clerk, Mrs. Bondi.
And I have the deletion of the public presentation from Taras Nadashak, MPP Essex, which has been deferred to the February 8th, 2016 regular meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All in favor? Motion carries. I better let you go.
Item 4, adoption of minutes, December 21st, 2015 regular council meeting.
Moved by Councillor Snively and seconded by Councillor Bondi. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 6, unfinished business, November 23rd, 2015 Finance Committee meeting minutes. And there are 2 resolutions that are recommended for adoption. Sorry, we need a motion first by council to bring the resolution back from the table.
Councillor Caxero? So moved, supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Now we need a motion to accept the minutes, or the recommendation of the Finance Committee. That was to bring it back to off table. Councillor Caxero.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
Would we not just be voting on the motion that was there, that was tabled? We wouldn't need to make the motion again?
The original motion from that meeting was moved by Deputy Mayor Meloche and seconded by Councillor Bjorkman, and that the 2 recommendations in the minutes be adopted and approved as recommended. So we just need council's vote on this.
Okay. Any questions to that? All in favor of that motion? Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7, reports from administration. A, Building Department Report number 2015-12, the December 2015 Building Report.
Councillor Caxero, moved, supported by Councillor Bondi. Any questions? Councillor Snively?
On the building, I hate to bring this up, but to Jeff, have we had any new home start in Harrow?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, we have not.
We haven't had one application in?
No, it's not me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item B, Community Services, Report number 2016-001, with reference to marketing and sponsorship opportunities.
Councillor Caxero?
I'll move the recommendations.
Councillor Bondi supports. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item C, Planning Department, report number 2016-01, SPG Media sign request, David McClarty, agent, for signs in Colchester North and South, which are now wards 2 and 3.
Deputy Mayor Malash moves, supported by Councillor Caxiero and Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thank you, through your mayor, to Mr. Watson. So we've had a couple of other signs that have gone up, or billboard signs, and I'm guessing that these are very similar. Can you maybe enlighten us on whether they are or not?
Through Mr. Mayor, this is actually the same applicant, Mr. McClarty. He has approval for 3 billboard signs. They're about 8 feet by 16 feet in size, and this would add 5 more to his list of approved signs. They're all the same size. They all require a permit from us, and they require a permit from the county because they're all on county roads as well. So there are various rules that he has to comply with the county as well as ours. I've told him that this is an experiment. We want to see how what kind of public reception we get to these. And at some point, I'm going to recommend that council put a moratorium in any future billboards until we do get public opinion. We get some idea of how well received they are. So at this point, I'm recommending in favor, but there will be probably a couple of signs from now where I'm going to recommend that council put a moratorium on any further approvals.
Follow up? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Mayor. And that was going to be the next part of my question was, we don't want to be polluted with signs. Is there some kind of plan going forward as to, how far apart these could be spaced and how many in one location and that kind of thing? But it sounds like you have that under control for future, perhaps, recommendations.
Through Mr. Mayor, the standards that council set require a 1 kilometer separation, which is actually much higher than the county's requirement. And also, but the county also requires setbacks from the road. So between the two of them, it's a fairly strict standard. The focus so far has been on County Road 11 and on County Road 20, and with 1 sign approved on Arner. And so the distribution, I think, is very important. We don't want them all clustered in one area, even with the 1 kilometer separation. And since Mr. McClarty is so far the only one who has made applications for billboards, we've been able to sit down with him and the county and say, these are the standards we expect, and this is basically his focus when he is looking for sites. But I think, in my own opinion, once we reach maybe 10 signs, I think a 1-year moratorium on any future sign approvals would be appropriate.
Councillor Caxiero?
Through your worship, the only concern that I had was the sign at 1057 and the sign at 7220. I'm not 100% sure of the exact location, but knowing that road, those signs are going to be in close proximity to some fairly sharp bends. That would be my concern. Somebody starts glancing up at signs and they're going around a bend and they're in the ditch. So, I mean, obviously, we don't have anything in there, I don't think, with regards to setbacks from bends in the road, but certainly that kind of raised a little bit of a flag for me. I don't know if you have any comments on that, Jeff.
That was pointed out to Mr. McClarty, and unfortunately the stars are much bigger than the actual sign would be, so they're really not at the bend. And as I say, there is a 1 kilometer separation, so you're not going to have a profusion of signs, which would really be a distraction. They're well separated from each other.
Anything further? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
Item D, Planning Report, number 2016-02, and this is in reference to sign encroachments.
Councillor Caxero will move, and seconded by Deputy Mayor Malas. Councillor Caxero?
Through your worship, to Jeff, these identification signs, is this going to be a format that we're giving them that they have to use so that everybody's going to be uniform, or are they doing their own sign and we're just stipulating the size?
Through Mr. Mayor, we're dealing with two kinds of signs, and where this came from was basically, as you know, the public works staff have been removing signs from public rights-of-way for the last couple of weeks, and we've probably gathered up almost 200 signs, mostly from utility poles, that were placed, without the authorization of the utility company. And but what happened was we ran into situations where there is a legitimate need for the sign. One kind of sign is what we call place-finding signs, which are basically pointing the way to a business which is a little hard to find. And the other kind is our business signs, where it's not really proper. It's not simply an easy matter to put them on the private property because of various obstructions which block view of the sign. All of the signs that we're dealing with here are small-scale signs. Two of them are place-finding signs, and two of them are business signs in front of the property affected by, or in front of the business. But one of the things I raised with council in this report is the whole question of place-finding signage, and how even for our own facilities, things like the Harrow Arena, for example, are very difficult to find, or Atlas 2, or say the new Selleck equipment facility when it's constructed. And you'll be seeing a report from me sometime in February which deals with place-finding signage within the public right-of-way, but with a set of standards which we could adopt and use universally. And something like the epic signs that you see for the wineries, for example, on the county roads. One of the things I run into, though, is that because most of these signs would be on county roads, county council permission is also required. So I've been working with Dale Meyer, who's basically the sign coordinator for the county, and trying to establish some standards which are mutually acceptable to both the county and to council. So that's why it's not going to be a quick and fast report. It's going to require some groundwork before I get to council with a series of recommendations for a universal set of standards.
Anyone else? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
Item E, Planning Department, report number 2016-03, regarding the heritage designation for the Tufflemeyer-Snyder Cemetery.
Deputy Mayor Malas moves, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item F, Planning Department, report number 2016-04, and that is the results of the Community Improvement Plan Survey.
Moved by Councillor Bundy, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? Councillor Bundy.
Thank you. I would just like to thank the Planning Department for this report. I think it was pretty helpful to read and to see how we are going to keep reiterating how our CIP program is working. It's really funny because I woke up last night in the middle of the night and had a dream about all of the new stores opening in Harrow. So with continued promotion, hopefully we'll continue to see more results.
Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, the only thing that I'd add that may help out with the situation, I don't know what Ann has on her plate or how busy she is, but potentially where she maybe sees the opportunity maybe that somebody's not taking, if she has an opportunity to stop into that business and maybe give them some ideas as to how they might uptake the CIP, because maybe some encouragement on behalf of someone like Ann, and telling them that they'd be successful in gaining some money, would maybe get the ball rolling on some items that could help out.
Anything further? All in favor of the motion? Oh, we have our CEO, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. In response to Councillor Caxero's issue about talking to the Economic Development Officer, I'll bring that to her attention. I know she attends the chamber meetings and the BIA meetings and regularly promotes these programs, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. I know she does meet with business owners from time to time, but I'll encourage her to take those actions.
Okay. Oh, and how about Mr.
We have been talking to Ann about various strategies as well. She's the one who came up with the idea of the placard that goes on the windows of the stores that have had CIP approval, and that has been very well received. A lot of people have noticed that, and we're also talking about setting up meetings through the BIA and through the Chamber of Commerce to invite businesses to come in. We can talk to them about that as well. I've revised the implementation strategy a bit, so it's a little bit more descriptive of the various programs, because council added, for example, the demolition grant and the accessibility entrance grant, and people aren't aware of those. So we haven't been very good at sort of promoting the new things that have come into the plan, and so we have to do a little bit more of that.
Councillor Vokes?
Yeah, in terms of the CIP and marketing it, if you will, we should be dropping off, we should get Ann to put together, if we could, a friendly reminder about the CIP program and drop it off at every business again, because people forget, and they forget quickly. And especially coming into the spring of the year, there might be a lot of people jump on board with that. I guarantee you, probably, my guess would be 60%, 50% of the businesses, if you mention the CIP to them, wouldn't even know what you're talking about. I hate saying that, but it's the truth. And we need to send something out as a friendly reminder about the program, how it works, what opportunities are there. Nothing detailed, nothing long, nothing boring, but a punctual letter that says, here's the CIP program, and here's what it means to you.
Yeah, you are correct. That wouldn't hurt, but the BIA has done this with their businesses. They're pushing them at every opportunity they get, Randy. So, Councillor Snively.
Through your worship, I agree with Councillor Vokes. I know for a fact in the downtown part of Harrow, there was 2 businesses that didn't even know about the program. And when I brought it forward to them, they applied, they did get the grant, but they didn't even know about the program. So somehow we have to educate the store owners about the program, and I agree that somehow we have to get that out to them. Thank you.
Okay, anything further? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
Item G, Planning Department, Report Number 2016-05. It's regarding the release of securities for Kimball subdivision.
Moved by Councillor Snively, supported by Councillor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 8, Correspondence A, Essex Region Conservation Authority, the 2016 draft budget.
Councillor Bundy moves, supported by Councillor Snively. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries.
Item B, Ontario Good Roads Association, the 2016-2017 Board of Directors.
Councillor Caxero's move receipt, supported by Deputy Mayor Meloche. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item C, City of Kingston, requesting support of the resolution for basic income guarantee.
Motion to receive and support. Councilor Bundy, and Councilor Caxero supports that. Any questions? All in favor? All in favor? Okay, motion carries.
Item D, Township of Madawaska Valley, requesting support of the resolution for publicly funded healthcare system.
By Councilor Bundy, supported by Councilor Snively. Any questions? Yes, Councilor Bundy.
Just, it seems like this particular municipality is having similar issues that we are having down here in an urban or rural area, sorry. So I think it's imperative that we support them too, with, in terms of doctor recruitment and retention.
Further? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item E, Municipality of Port Hope, support for opposition to incineration facilities.
Moved by Councilor Bundy, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 9, committee meeting minutes. A, Committee of Adjustment meeting from December 15th, 2015.
Moved by Councilor Snively, supported by Councilor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Oh, motion carries.
Item B, Coan Park Committee meeting from December 15th, 2015.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Malash, supported by Councilor Caxero. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item C, Essex Police Services Board meetings from December 3rd, 2015 and January 7th, 2016.
Moved by Councilor Caxero, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 10, Financial, the November 15th, 2015 bank payments report.
Moved by Councilor Snively, supported by Councilor Caxero. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Item 11, New Business. A, Councilor Bondi, Smith Road.
Councilor Bundy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The other day, I had the opportunity to drive on some of our municipal roads, and Smith Road was one of the real bad ones. There's a couple other really, really, really bad ones. I would say Ridge is really bad too, in my opinion, although I'm not an engineer. But in speaking with the Director of Infrastructure, he said that maybe some political pressure from our council, again, I know we've done this the last term, but I think we need to keep on it, political pressure with Amherstburg to see what we can do with Smith Side Road. Now, I know it's not exactly on our radar to do Smith Side Road in 2016, but I think that if we keep on them this year and maybe 2017, 2018, we can get it done. The road is quite bad, and it's actually chunking off on sections, but it's a shared road, so it's quite complicated. And I don't know if municipalities can pave one half of the road, or I don't know what to do. But I'm just throwing it out there to see what the rest of council thinks about Smith Side Road, and seeing if we again want to put the ball in Amherstburg's court, and seeing if we can have a meeting with them to see what they think as well.
Councilor Snively.
Through you, Your Worship, I agree with Councillor Bondi. Matter of fact, I travel that road basically on a daily basis. The road is horrendous. Chris and I have talked about this road. I have talked to a councillor from Amherstburg, and he went to look at it too. He's on board, and he's working with council over there to try to get some funding for that road. And with conversation with Chris, he's on top of it now. And Chris, I think you have a meeting, is it tomorrow with them?
Mr. Nepsey.
Through your worship, yes, I've had as Councillor Bondi noted, several years' worth of conversations regarding Smith Road. We discussed the road today. The issue isn't whether they disagree or agree that the road is failing. It's in their needs now pile. The problem is, like every other municipality in the county, their needs now pile is about $10 million worth. So it gets into, politically, which road are you going to do out of that 10 million? I think on average they spend about $1 million a year on roads. So there's a pile of them to pick from. The other issue with Smith Road is, although it gets probably on average 1,200 cars a day for the last 5 years, the majority of that traffic, I don't know for a fact, but based on traffic patterns, the majority of that traffic is coming from Essex. So as a council of Amherstburg, for them to, politically for them, that road might not be as high on the list as some other roads. So that's the issue that Amherstburg is facing with respect to putting money towards that road. On our end, I mean, technically, yes, you can pave half the road. Not best practice at all. I mean, you've got a big joint down the middle. You've got varying surfaces for rideability. So not best practice. We've done some patching, some temporary scratch coating with some asphalt in the past, which has improved some of those sections. There are some sections that definitely need some TLC now. We will continue to do that. As Councillor Bondi noted, whether it's this year or maybe there's something they can do as far as earmarking money towards it to have that commitment to it, so that they have that bookmarked for a year to come, maybe next year or the following year. So if they don't want to, drop the full amount, which is probably in the neighborhood of 700,000 plus or minus, to do that stretch of road, it's about 4 kilometers, then maybe we can look at putting some funds aside to do that. That's partly the reason that it's not on our radar, although it's one of the roads that should be on our radar. It wasn't in the plan that you received or the maps you received based on getting funding from Amherstburg. So I wouldn't put it in there until I had money from them to help finish that road. So
Follow up, Larry?
Further to that, Councillor Bondi said, is it possible to do half the road? And Chris, we had that discussion today, and yes, it is. This road here is probably one of the worst roads we have in our municipality. It's a heavily traveled road, and now it's down to a point where it's a safety issue. I traveled the road today, and I'm telling you, on the east side, that road is destroyed. I know we've done it from the 4th south to the 3rd concession, that's been done in the last couple, 2-3 years, which is good. But going north, if you look on the shoulder road, there's big holes, it's destroyed. I mean, yes, we could pressure Amherstburg a little bit to partnership with us to do the road, but if they don't, I think this is a budget item anyways, and we shouldn't be going on about it, but it is a budget item. And as far as roads go, there's a lot of roads in our municipality, and we have to spend some money. And this is a big budget item, which is going to come forward. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Roach and then Councillor Yaxero.
Thank you, Your Worship. Chris, what process, and to administration and even council, what process do we use to recognize the responsibility of shared assets? Because another example being is the McGregor Healthcare Center. We know for a fact when Mr. Baker was here that it was suggested that they meet with Amherstburg Council, and we should be meeting with Amherstburg Council, because there are so many responsibilities on boundary roads that I believe we're inheriting it. Because right away, recognizing the safety of the road, we say, we're going to fix it. It's a budget, and we got to fix it. But I don't know why we do that. I think those discussions should take place, this council and administration with that council and administration, if the road needs to be fixed. Because I've been on council for 12 years, and I see the mayor, and I see Richard, and Bill prior to, and Larry was a mayor. And I don't ever remember meeting any time in that collective time with myself, with a board or municipality in terms of responsibilities. We just do it. And we shouldn't just be doing it. And I get the safety part of it. I understand all that. But if they just sit back and let us do it, that's fine. If my neighbor wanted to build a beautiful PVC fence between our properties, go ahead, do it. But if he come to me and asked me to share the costs, I would probably do that with them or come up with a compromise on how we do it. I don't think we should just be saying we do it. I think we should launch the process on collective meetings whenever anything is a border issue, instead of just bearing the sword of it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Reply, go ahead. And then-
Right there. To Councillor Vokes, I'm not implying that we pay for the whole road. I'm just saying, if they haven't got the money to do their side, we have to be responsible government and do our part on our side. That's all I'm saying. If you went down the road, Councillor Vokes, and took a look at the road, it's in dire straits. It is bad. And that's all I'm saying. If we can't get Amherstburg to commit to go in with us, we have to do something on that side road. Even if it's patching going down, we have to repair that road, plain and simple.
If I could, Your Worship, on that, please, one time.
Okay,
Thank you.
here we go.
No, I'm not going to go, here we go. My question is could administration find out if Amherstburg already has their budget in place, it could be problematic. We all know that. But if Amherstburg doesn't have their budget in place, then we should have those discussions with them ASAP, because we're going to be sitting in that back room trying to figure out how we're going to fix Smith Road. But if we knew there was a opportunity from Amherstburg to share that cost, we know how much how those dollars add up to us. So I would really like to know if Amherstburg has completed their budget, and if they have, then identify with them that it will be done in 2017.
Okay, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you, through your worship. I did have an opportunity to meet with John Michelli, CAO of Amherstburg, last week. He and I have exchanged emails, as Chris has exchanged emails with Antionetta, who's his counterpart over in Amherstburg. Both of us, both the CAOs, have effectively agreed to leave the infrastructure managers to get together, look at the scope of work and the costing, and our intent is to report back to our respective councils. John was very clear in recognizing that even though their budget has been adopted, they're open to looking at it. And again, this is through discussions through Councillor Snively and Councillor Rick Fryer from Amherstburg. They have had these discussions, and we've been moving the agenda along. I'm not aware that anything definitive has taken place. I didn't check with Chris earlier today, but my understanding is that there was still to be some further discussions on it, and if not at their level, then certainly at John's level and mine.
Councillor Caxero.
Through your worship, certainly this isn't a new problem. When I was on council the first term, from 2003 to 2006, the road was already not in great shape. It was discussed at that time that it should be done. I'll bring up the issue that I feel is the underlying issue, or the main issue, and that is that any road that's shared between two municipalities should be a county road, because then we don't have this problem. The county takes care of it. That's the problem when you have two municipalities sharing costs on things, and roads is one of those things that they shouldn't share costs on. I don't believe. If it's a road that divides two municipalities, it should be a county road.
I would just like to add, we can be thankful that this is the only strip that we do share with another municipality, like that 4 clicks that Chris mentioned. Okay, and we are off to Sherry Bondi again with regards to a business item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's just continually I scroll through my book and see the list of issues that we haven't got a resolution for, and the deputy mayor at large is one that is current. And I don't know a time frame when we asked for it, but I know it was after the election of this term of council. could have been December, January of 2014, 2015, but I know a number of council members, I believe actually all of us, said that we were uncomfortable with how we actually appoint our deputy mayor. So, we sent our administration back to the table to work on bringing us a report. But we haven't had the report yet, and I'm certainly not pointing fingers at anybody, because I think, and when I think about it and review what we should do, I think that council, it might be imperative for council to have an hour meeting at some time in the next month or two and say, what do we want to see in the report? Rather than administration bring us a report, we say yay or nay, and then we send them back for another, further clarification or costs. I think that if council meets first and says, you know what, this is a good idea, okay, let's narrow down administration's time and say, okay, go research these two options, then come back, whether it be adding a new seat, getting a consultant to realign the wards. Right now, we don't know what that looks like at all. All we agreed on as a council is that we want to change the way we elect or appoint our deputy mayor. I'm asking for council to have a quick discussion and see if you're willing to meet for an hour during the next 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever, and then we can give administration further direction on what we'd like to see in a report. I believe that council members should be free to ask questions of the status of the report. I don't know what the status is on the report, what the time frame is on the report, but I feel like 2016 is the year that we need to nail this into the ground. We need to wrap this up. I would like to see it done in the first half of 2016. I'm saying that because sometimes we all get busy and it ends up being the second half of 2016. I certainly don't want this to come out in 2017 and 2018. As soon as January 1st hits the ground, it's election year and we're all chasing squirrels. So I think that it's imperative that we hash it out sooner rather than later. I'd like to see a timeline, because when we switched from vote at the polls to vote by mail, it was really confusing. So I want to have our departments and our electorate to know that what we're doing in 2018. I want to have enough time for our public education, and so that all of our voters know how they're voting for each position. And realigning the wards, that's a big thing. So if we're going to do it, I'd like to see it wrapped up in 2016 so that we have time to get it out there. So looking to see what council thinks, whether they have time for, maybe we just want to get a report from administration, or maybe we can commit to talking about it for an hour, hour and a half, and then giving administration feedback.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Phillips.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. As best I recall, and I did some research on this earlier today, that on January 19th, and Councillor Bondi's correct in that it was almost a year ago, but what was done at that point in time was that simply a notice of motion was given to have the matter of the election of deputy mayor discussed at a future meeting of council. The matter was placed on the administration's management team agenda for discussion the very next day, and it was assigned to the clerk on January 20th to be studied, and that a report would come back by March of last year. That was my knowledge. To the best of my knowledge, the item was never brought back to council so as to formally move it or create a motion, although we've been working on it. Administration has effectively maintained the understanding that council has formally requested this, and it was a topic raised by Councillor Caxero actually during the orientation session as well as I recall. Just for the background, studies have been undertaken last year on what legislative steps were required to adjust boundaries or to add councillor positions and other aspects. However, a comprehensive report was never pulled together to address all of these matters such that council could review the entire issue. Against other priorities, administration did not regard this as a time-sensitive matter, given that elections aren't till the fall of 2018. Regrettably, and for reasons beyond my understanding, I'm advised the item was never formalized, as I say, by a council resolution, nor did the matter stay before administration on our management team agendas. Thus, the item does not show on council's minutes nor in management's record of tasks. But I appreciate the council has been patiently waiting, and I accept responsibility for that oversight. In wrapping up her duties as manager of legislative services and clerk, Cheryl has worked on a report on this topic, and as Councillor Caxero stated in an earlier email today, a report was drafted and forwarded to my attention last month. That was a report penned by Cheryl. In reviewing the report, neither Donna Hunter nor myself were satisfied that Cheryl's report addressed all of the alternatives, which I think need to be dwelled on. And I think typically, most administrative reports should contain not only options, but recommendations. And it was unclear that in Cheryl's report that we had sufficient data or background on which to move forward on this matter. So we determined at that point in time that would be one of the first assignments tasked to the new clerk once that individual has begun their employment. And as in response to Councillor Bondi's position, it would be my recommendation to have a report fully prepared by May of this year. In the interim, the notion of meeting with council to discuss alternatives to better define the scope of what council would want administration to explore is welcome. And I think it would be of benefit to all of us because bluntly, we were struggling with a bit. We've heard issues of changing the boundaries, changing the method of election, changing a whole host of things. So I think there's really advantage in sitting down again and meeting. But our apologies for the oversight. When I went back through our records, we don't find it, other than we know it's out there and we know that there's a want to do it, but it wasn't formalized, and I think for those reasons it was dropped.
Councillor Snively?
Yeah, through your worship, I appreciate what Russ is saying here. I went on the website today, all the other municipalities, how they do it, and there's all kinds of different ways to do it. But I agree with Councillor Bondi. I think this is, it was very uncomfortable the last election. It always is when we come to electing the deputy mayor. I don't think the process is fair, not at all. Very uncomfortable. It puts, I think everyone sitting here is very capable of being the deputy mayor. I agree with Councillor Bondi. It should be a council decision, and I think that we should set aside an hour at a special meeting to discuss it and make recommendations at that time. I think it should be council that comes up with the recommendation how we want to elect the deputy mayor. Thank you.
Anything further? Thank you very much. Just before we go on, I would just like to welcome the warden, Tom Bain. He stepped into our meeting a few minutes ago, and welcome, Mr. Bain. Okay. And Billy had one name.
Item C under new business, Councillor Kexero.
Councillor Kexero.
Through your worship, I had sent out an email today, or a couple of them, with regards to potentially meeting to have some discussions surrounding the mapping that was sent out by Chris Nepsey and the 5-year plan. He did send out some more information, which again would be part of that discussion, but I believe it may be worthwhile to meet for an hour or two prior to us starting budget, because it will have budget implications, and I have some questions. There's some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with, and I think that may help us when we get to budget to maybe spend a little less time doing that road type discussion work outside of the budget sessions. So in talking, or in sending out an email, I got response back from a couple. The two dates that seem to be still out there, 27th is off the board because of negotiations, but the 26th and 28th were still available. Do either of those dates work for everybody?
Good for me. Councillor Bondi said yes.
And going back to the last issue, if we want to have a discussion with respect to the deputy mayor, if both of those dates are available, we could meet for an hour one day and a couple hours the other day with regards to the roads, if everybody's willing. I'm willing.
Councillor Bondi?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that's a good idea. We didn't quite get an answer whether we're meeting about the deputy mayor or not. I think that administration agrees it's a good idea, but I didn't quite get an answer from council if everybody else agrees that's a great idea. I think it'd be prudent to do it as well.
Okay, so we're going to get together tomorrow through emails and settle a date, are we? Or are we doing it right now, both of them?
Can do it right now?
Right now, both of them for me. Councilor Snively.
Through your worship, I can't give you an answer, yes or no. I haven't got my schedule with me, so
We'll have the clerk send out a, accept or not, yeah, exactly, okay. Councilor Bondi.
I would just like to add that Councillor Bjorkman is away, and for the conversation of the deputy mayor and the roads, I'd really like him to be back. I think that all council members should be involved, especially in the deputy mayor. That's talking about changing up, maybe not necessarily in the road.
Yeah, I think he's gone away till the 29th, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Councilor Caxero.
Through your worship, I can appreciate that. The only problem is, if we wait for him to come back, I believe our first budget session is February 1st. So that basically is the following Monday. 29th. So I would suggest that and I certainly respect the fact that I'm sure he would like to be around. Doesn't mean that we're going to etch anything in stone. I would just like to get some further explanation on the mapping and the 5-year plan and all that kind of stuff, so that we can wrap our heads around it for budget. So I would suggest that we meet on the 28th at 4:30 or 5, whatever is good for everybody. I like to always meet a little bit earlier with regards to administration, so that they're not trying to fill in time after work, but maybe it's better for them if they fill in time. I don't know. Whatever's better for administration.
Too bad, so sad. Councilor Snively.
your worship, yeah, that would work. As far as the deputy mayor, we could put that off until Steve gets back. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Sounds good with me. Okay? I think we all agree. Good. Yep.
Item 13, bylaws. A, bylaw number...
You skipped number 12.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Item 12, notices of motion.
Reason I know you skipped that is I do have a notice of motion for discussion at our next meeting. My notice of motion is that the procedural bylaw be amended by removing new business from the order of business for regular council meeting agendas. I got it right here. Now you got 13.
Item 13, bylaws, bylaw number 1478, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the January 18th regular council meeting.
A point of information?
Okay?
Oh, this notice.
Yeah. Okay, bylaw 1478, Councilor Caxero, supported by Councilor Snively. Questions? On favor? Motion carried.
Item number 14, adjournment.
Excuse me, Deputy Mayor Malash, just before you do that, would our youth like to say anything this evening? Put no pressure on you. Yeah, that's right. Okay, Miss Abbott?
I just have one thing that I would like to inform everybody about. Right now, our school is doing clothing or like little extra household items. Like we're doing a drive for that. And at our school, every pound of clothing collected is 15 cents. That'll go towards funding our school in Haiti. So if anyone in the community or anyone here has extra clothes that they're throwing out for spring cleaning, we'd love to take them and put that money towards something good. So thank you.
Thank you. Carly, you going to follow up in Essex with that? No. Okay. At this time, I hate to make this presentation. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Oops, Excuse me. As everyone's aware, we had a little party last week for our clerk, Cheryl Bondi. 38 years, municipal politics. I guess she started in Colchester South, Harrow, and Essex. She's had many CAOs. She's had many mayors also, and we all got through it, thanks to Cheryl. I know she's not going to like this, but we had the party, and she didn't kill any of us, so that was one good thing. But Cheryl, on behalf of all of us, your fellow employees, us council members, and everybody in town, thanks for a great job, 38 years, and have a great retirement. Last chance to make a speech if you would like. Come on. No, I know you don't. Okay. Now we're looking for an adjournment. Councillor Caxiero, Councillor Snively, any questions? All in favor? Great. Have a good time.